Many people by now have heard about the referendum. A lot of people about being lied to about their so-called yes vote. And the ones who are choosing to vote no, like myself, we are being labelled racist and all sorts of other names. People who are voting no are putting the truth out there, and they are actually seeing what the referendum is for what it really is. Everybody has heard of the WHO, the WEF, and the UN. This referendum that Anthony Albanese is trying to introduce, all as it is a land grab. They want to strip the rights away from all Aboriginal people, destroy their culture and their sovereignty. There are two sovereign countries left in the world, one of them being Australia, the other one being Russia. So I urge all Australians to vote no. If you gave a shit about your future, your kids' future, your grandkids' future, and to actually care about Australia itself, then you would vote no. Listen to what a few Aboriginal people have to say. And please, vote no, not yes.
The ability of the sovereign is to protect the realm and everything and everyone upon it. In unity we stand. For the children we must act. Love and freedom to humanity. The sovereign tribes of the planet, we are calling out to you. Please come forward. Please come and unite. We need to reconvene the ancient treaties of old. We need to reconvene the ancient treaties where we did no harm to each other. We traded peacefully. We learnt from each other. The Egyptians travelled here to learn from our tribes. We have an opportunity to build that again. Where we are now is not the new normal. It's the severe abnormal. People have been enslaved in a fraudulent corporate system. We've all been enslaved into this matrix. Nothing's going to go back to normal. We have to create a new future. It's all what led to here. This is all pre-planned. It was all a part of the mind control, the television, light vision. It's all a part of the programming, okay? This has all been set up to prepare for this day. The problem is they have relied on us being asleep. They've relied on us being blinded and deceived. What they didn't count on, though, was the human factor. The human factor of us caring for our families, our children, our lives, and each other. And now that the human factor has been pushed to the point where we are standing and uniting, now they realise they can't turn back. They've shown their hand. They've proven that their intent is to genocide us. And now it's up to us to unite and walk free. Let's do it.
The Australian government is going to blow $253 million of taxpayers' money to mislead Australians on the Orwellian named Voice referendum. It's a political stunt which seeks to cleave and split Australia with the ultimate divide and conquer manoeuvre. Politicians and government never ever give anything away unless it adds to their power, prestige, or the interests of their donors or corporate or ideological lobbyists who wish to mould Australia in their own image, values or vision. Nothing is free, ever. Always look for the catch. The Albanese Voice bright idea should be called the Trojan Voice for what it proposes to do. In short, it puts Australia's land and resources into conservatorship. The Voice stands for Australians can't be trusted. The Voice means constitutional changes, which creates new veto power over every major Australian public policy decision. A nanny state on steroids. The Voice oligarchs will need to approve absolutely anything the Australian people wish to do, including where they live, how they live, freedom of movement and every aspect of land use and ownership, as Australians increasingly get squeezed into urban gulags known as 15-minute cities, which you can't leave when you exceed your quota, and where every road becomes a toll road overseen by AI cameras. A prison without bars. The Voice is the Camp Rules Committee, whom you don't elect or control. Indeed, not being Aboriginal makes you persona non grata, a non-person at worst and second-class citizen at best. Every new piece of new legislation will need approval by the Voice bureaucrats. What's the point of an Australian government if the nation has a new class of nobles? You can bet the faces behind the throne won't be black faces. Whispering in the ear of the Voice oligarchs will be the new, real rulers of Australia, who will strip mine the nation, tax it into oblivion and make it off limits even for a Sunday drive, and prescribe every aspect of Australian life. The new colonialist overseers will be invisible marauders hiding behind the voice command and control structures that render voting a pointless exercise. If your vote means little today, it will mean absolutely nothing under the voice, which has the ultimate oversight and veto over government and your elected representatives that are already bought, bribed, lobbied, or plain incompetent and loyal to party apparatchiks rather than their constituents who got them elected. As for the Aboriginal people, the voice is supposed to empower, compensate, and recognise. They won't be allowed anywhere near the king-like power of the voice. With it, corporate marauders will exercise immense power and control from the shadows without having to deal with former messy public accountability, regulations, and oversight. Australians will come to resent the voice as a New Zealand-like Treaty of Waitangi on steroids, creating division and a new privileged class. Ask the New Zealand Maori what their treaty got them. Nothing. It's woke social justice masquerading as a guilt trip by privileged grifters who don't struggle with mortgages or making ends meet. The Australian Constitution addressed the full integration of Aboriginals with the 1967 referendum that removed the last barrier to recognise Aboriginals as Australians instead of therein before, when they were considered part of the nation's flora and fauna. Politicians can't be trusted, seizing more power under the guise of hand-wringing guilt redemption. A splintered, atomised and ungovernable Australia only benefits those who already command and exert power. Under the voice, they'll further consolidate their power using Aboriginals as their clueless proxies. Aboriginals don't need pity or welfare. They need opportunity. That already exists in Australia in spades, with no barriers to Aboriginal people. Aboriginals can exploit the opportunities now. They don't need the odium-perceived race favouritism the voice will bring them. The voice referendum is a Trojan horse to usher in a power grab. When it's put to the Australian people, vote with one voice. That voice is a firm no.
We vote no! We vote